We got noise, so we're good. Hangout is live. I'm surprised there's no BENE data in there. In Slack. It's okay. This is already open. So I'm going to change this Excel data into SAV file because I prefer my data in that format. And there appear to be, oh, this is all of the data combined.
Yeah.
Right on. Which we weren't working with before. Working with the group a couple of days ago. We were just using the stuff that they had coded from yeah. So they have some posts coded that you don't, but that's fine. I think we're not trying to here compare, maybe we are, benefit to competitors. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. But if we just say, what things do we want to know about benefit posts in particular? Well, we have a bunch of those things here. Maybe there's another variable that we need to code, add in at some later point. We can get there when we need to. But I'm going to save this data as I did before. I'll just call it benefit data. And then I can't remember, there were like 350 something responses. Any data set that I have when I'm saving it as SPSS data, for example, I always want to know what the base size is in it, because sometimes those things can change. And I know that we're working with about 350. Cool. I know that we're aiming for, looked like about 353. I'll change it at some point. And it's here. This is our data. Probably can't change this, but we'll see if it'll let me. Nope. It's fine. You can't stop me from changing something I copied. And I want you. Oh, we just did some t-tests. I feel like we did more than this when we met, but maybe we didn't. I don't know.
We did analyze it in class as well. In one session, we analyzed like food versus like aesthetic or whatever.
No, okay. Well, we'll have the opportunity, but check it out. Now I can just pull that file, and now we're working with that 353 file. I'm going to need to know some things. We've got the variable view and the data view. The variable view shows me what the variable names are called. We've got some labels and descriptions. I may end up renaming, recoding, or creating a new variable. One of the first things I'm going to do is right here. Because SPSS variable names cannot start with the hashtag, when it imported the Excel file in for the variable names, it did things like remove spaces or slashes and put the @ symbol at the beginning of what you have in Excel that says number of followers. Personally, if I'm going to be typing that, I'd rather not have to type @of followers. So I'm going to create a new variable called followers, which is equal to And I believe I copied it so I can paste it. And there's 3 C's in account. So if I just say compute followers equals at number of followers on the account, then now this variable exists in my data as followers. And anytime I want to look at followers as an independent or dependent variable, I can just use the followers. And I may use the same strategy for other variables. For example, there's probably like a rename function. Honestly, I know there is, but I would rather preserve these variables the way they were coded, and just know that because I prefer them to look a certain way, can just say, I don't know, aesthetics equals that variable, run it. Now there's a variable called aesthetics as opposed to aesthetic quality of photo 15. I've got a shorter word. I can just talk about, let's compare these 2 types of things on aesthetics. And then when I write it, I'm going to write t-test aesthetics. Data cleaning, 101. All right, so what do we want to know about? What comparisons do you want to make? What relationships do you want to look for? What things do we think are interesting? If we want to try to combine more than one variable and look for comparisons like that, I'm fine with stuff like that too.
We talked about how we think that aesthetics pretty significant, and then also we talked about, like, I know looking at it, like Free Coffee Friday on repeat doesn't necessarily warrant as many likes. So if we could code to figure out what, like, food or having things in the photo that are like actually at the store, rather than just having like Google image photos that he puts on the
So like stock photos compared to his own photos would be a good thing to look at, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Is that variable coded?
Yes. Yeah.
What's the variable? So stock photo is 0s and 1s, presumably, right?
Yes.
When we'll find out exactly what it is, we'll run some frequencies. We'll say, hey, free stock photo, and give me histograms, because even though it should be 1 and 0s, I like histograms because they're so delicious, like goldfishes. 353 posts, 88 yes, 265 no. Talk to me. What do we like or not like about what results we see here?
Well, it's good that there's more.
And don't pass judgment. I don't care about it. Try again.
88 is still a high number of stock photos, it seems, for an account that is.
That has how many posts?
353.
Y'all posted 353?
No, because that's their data.
That's only 230 posts.
Oh, so that's a thing we need to start making ourselves aware of here. Right. That's good. Like that's exactly what you were supposed to see. I knew we were going to see that. Like, we're doing these things, you're learning. Good. You're engaging with the data. I like it. So one of the things that we're going to have to do, and I'm going to do this. What variable would tell us whether or not we're talking about benefit posts or not?
I guess anything that's not a stock.
Nope. Try again. Which variable would tell us whether the name of the cafe is benefit or not?
If it's either benefit or any.
If what is?
Oh. The name.
Sarah, you're looking at it.
Name of cafe.
Yeah. I can tell where you're looking. You're looking right at where it says name of cafe. So if name of cafe equals benefit, then that's what we're after. Let's figure out what variables are in benefit, and since there's an accent in here, I'm going to try to copy using hotkeys by habit, and then realize it doesn't work. Oh, So there's a number of different things. So really, I only want the 204 posts that are benefit juice bar. So I'm going to compute a variable, and I'm going to call it benefit equals 0. Every post is going to be, so 0 and 1. 0 is no, 1 is yes. No, yes. Yes, 2 hand gestures. No, yes. Deny, confirm. This is no. None of these posts are benefit. But there's a piece of information. If name of cafe equals benefit juice bar, and I believe each piece is capitalized, and this command is case sensitive. So if name of cafe, the variable name, equals, in quotes, benefit juice bar, benefit, doesn't matter if this one is case sensitive because we're not in quotes. Oh. Creating a variable called benefit. Everybody's a 0. If the name of the cafe is benefit juice bar, this new variable takes on the value of 1. Let's hope when we run frequencies on the benefit variable, we get 204. 4. 4. Okay. So from now on, and under normal circumstances, I would include a line that's the temporary command that tells SPSS, just for the moment, only look at benefit posts. But I think that's going to be our default for this conversation. So I'm just going to be like, yo, SPSS, only select if benefit equals 1. And then show me things like stock photo. 204 posts, 81 stock photos, 123 not. Now we're talking. So we have 81 stock photos, 123 that aren't. We get 2 groups.
Can we look at the average, like, likes on stock versus not stock?
Okay, so for a dependent variable, we're considering likes. Those are things that could be affected by the independent variable, which is the presence or absence of a. These are all benefit photos.
Stock photos.
Yeah, presence or absence of it being a stock photo. We have 81. We're going to look for the average number of likes for the stock photos and the average number of likes for the non-stock photos. Okay. While we're at it, are there any other dependent variables that you would consider including? Not just likes. What else could be affected? Comments?
Reposts. Yeah.
Help me understand what reposts
Did
mean.
we code based on reposts though? We only coded based on if he reposted a photo.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can.
We could do the quality of the photo, like what we.
The aesthetics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To see like if how we rated it, like.
Mm-hmm.
What we rated stuff it was.
Good. Starting to get a little stride here. All right, so likes. That variable is called likes. Likes on video, views on video. Is those yours code? That's their codes. All right, so then we won't really be worrying about that. Are we comments or comments on photo? Comments. Okay, so the variables are literally likes, comments. I've created this thing called aesthetics. Anything else you want to be interested in?
Yes.
Yeah, and this is based on things that we I thought there'd be more in there. That we discovered on Thursday. There's one more, but it's interesting. And once we get there, come on, one other variable that's interesting.
That goes along with stock photo.
I think that's a dependent variable that's interesting. Give you a hint. It's one of the 15 that's on the screen right now.
Is it the food update?
Nope.
Label?
Nope.
Tags?
Yep. Why?
So we didn't do tags.
Yeah, we didn't code for tags.
No.
Mm-mm.
Go back and code for tags. Put it on the
What do you
to-do
mean by
list.
tags?
Like who they tag in the picture.
So do they do
Mm-mm.
that? Tag.
If somebody, it could be like if one of their followers tagged a friend,
Okay, so if
in
they
there.
tag
Oh.
benefit in there.
Yep.
Those- okay.
or like if I post this candy cane, and then I was like in the comments, I was like, at Sarah, remember candy canes? Haha, wink.
So I
Or
feel like
like
we
in-
didn't do that because like they don't get that.
Well, they
We
get
did
like,
comments.
They get
Like-
tagged.
But he means like on a post, like, all right, this one has one.
Like, for
person
example,
tagged. Like, they tagged.
on a grilled cheese post, someone was like, at Alyssa, right up your alley.
Yeah,
Or
that's
That.
what I was just looking at.
That's what I'm talking about for tags. Here's why. The narrative that I'm building, or we built with the other group, has to do with the purpose of social media in the bigger conversation about your marketing mix. If you think that likes is the only thing you're after, I think you're doing it wrong. And I don't know, go ask Leah downstairs, she knows this stuff. And I don't know which of these causes which, but if you put posts on there that get likes, or if I like this post, and me and Lane, or me and Sarah, me and Mary, we've got something that's like grilled cheese or candy canes or whatever we have in common, then I might tag you in it. And if I tag you in a post by somebody you don't follow, you may in turn like that post because, oh, haha, yeah, candy canes, totally, got it.
It facilitates an interaction. Then there-
I think that totally makes sense. But like when we did like comments and wrote like 2-0, they like rarely get people like tagging other people. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's
So it
the
would
thing
be-
we want
yeah.
to increase.
Yeah.
That's white space because these three things go together. So you don't follow Benefit Juice,
Yeah.
and then they put some grilled cheese on there and I tag you. And then you spend a little time looking at the other benefit things because you liked the thing I tagged you in. And then you start to follow. And if I can increase the number of followers on an account, I'm going to increase the number of likes on the account. So is it really that we're after likes? No, I think we're after followers because the more people that follow you, the richer and broader the conversation is. And it's from the increase in followers, which is effectively these three things together. More likes means more tags, means more follows, means more likes, means more followers, means more tags, means more followers.
You
That's-
need more followers before you can get any of the other things.
Right.
Yeah.
So all of these things, whether or not they cause one another, they work. And as I've sort of pointed this out to the other team. Now, this was not like a thing that I came in thinking this is what I'm going to tell. This is what we discovered in the analysis. I mean, these three things are what's eventually going to drive people to go to your store. It becomes one of the 6 touch points, and then suddenly, like when I'm thinking I'm hungry for some soup, or I want a cup of coffee or a juice, and I go to my consideration set. It's Starbucks, it's Jamba Juice, it's Benefit. Oh yeah, I want to go to Benefit. I'm feeling Benefit today. You feeling Benefit? Yeah, I'm feeling Benefit. Let's go down there. But if it's not at least in the consideration set, because it's part of the conversation, we're not getting there. So by saying we're going to look for things like likes or comments, again, comments, a tag is a type of comment, I suppose. But if it's a type of post that makes a conversation happen, Free Coffee Fridays is not the thing that gets people talking.
Right. Picture of the witches.
Right. And that's a fundamental difference, I think, between the way social media is used by people and the way he wants to use it. It's not a billboard. It's not a ticker. It's not an ad in a newspaper. That's not what this is. That's one directional communication. That's quote unquote broadcasting. This is narrowcasting, and it's not even casting because it's a conversation. This is an interaction, a transaction between your followers and you. And if you display signs and signals and posts that aren't things that are inviting, then you don't create a an atmosphere for conversation. You don't generate this, and then people don't, the people don't put you in their consideration set. That's where we netted on Thursday. So in terms of where these groups, you and this other group, overlap, I'm okay with that being sort of a stem or a narrative. Like I said, we discovered that. I don't even know if it's true, but it's what I think the data is, or what we think the data says. So I'm going with that. So if we're looking at stock photo versus not stock photo, and we see that these dependent variables are different, whether or not you have stock photos or not stock photos, these outcomes are lower with stock photos. Don't put stock photos in there because they're not contributing to the conversation. I think that's really what we're after. So how do we do that? Like that's the hard part. Lane already said, I want to compare means. I want to compare the means on these variables. So we go to the analyze thing, because what we want to do is analyze. And what do we want to do? We want to compare means. There's 6 choices. We have independent samples. We have stock photos versus not stock photos. Those things are independent. They're independent samples. So we use the independent samples t-test. The dependent variables are things such as tags, comments, and likes.
When you're coding for tags, if you see one that a person tags 2 people in it, would I count that for 2 tags or just 1 tag?
Oh, so like if you commented.
So I am only one person commenting, but I'm tagging 2 people.
Got ya. So given that this course was supposed to be about survey design, and I was like, but I like your coding, so go for it. We didn't go over the fundamentals of creating coding schemes. Like we went ham on all the different ways you can write bad questions, and you got to go Likert type, 5-point, 7-point, raise level measurement. All that stuff was ad nauseum. When you code, you're supposed to have operational definitions for each of your codes, which would include exactly that. So tags looks like it's how many people were tagged.
Okay.
There's a post here, which is fully rooted, who's got 2,000 followers, and this is all these characteristics. 208 likes, 30 comments, 20 tags. Okay. Presumably, oh gosh, what would that have been? Hashtags? But the other team didn't tell us what the basis for that was. Come on. Don't do this to me. Fully rooted, something's gonna crash. Don't be SPSS. Fully rooted juice. And this post is referring to title fully rooted kombucha. Is that kombucha? No.
Oh, I found it.
You found that one?
It was October 26th, if that helps. No, it's
like a brown bottle.
Oh, it's this one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. Like it looks like a bunch of people were tagged in this. Was that 20 people? I mean,
so they're counting each person. So
one.
Okay.
I'm not seeing 20 though.
Because we didn't look at all the comments.
No, yeah, they did.
Hmm.
So fully rooted commented back to everyone and tagged everyone. Like, look at. Like, probably someone. So it's really only one person tagged, like friend, because like fully rooted commented back and like tagged her in it, replying to her comment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that person did tag. So maybe they're like two.
Well, I still like the dependent variable, even though it's sort of confounded whether tags doesn't necessarily mean unique tags, but there's really two types of tags. There's like tags which are new. Hey, Mary, I bet you'd be interested in this. Check this out. Or what I think is also important is sort of this interpersonal tag, which is I know you, you follow me, and if I'm having a conversation with you, we're building loyalty. You're gonna feel guilty if you go to Starbucks because I'm like, dude, I thought
you took the time to respond to the tag.
So I definitely think those are two different tags, but both so important.
Well, for now we can call them tags, but
And
in
count
terms,
them both.
we'll
Okay.
we'll count any of that.
So
Yeah.
now you see a tag, just count.
So got it.
Yeah. Understanding that it's a mix of these two. So this stuff is new. This is very, very good, but I still think it contributes to the, I wouldn't call it, sure, it's sort of a model of what we're trying to convince them to do with social media, is that one of two purposes. You either get new people to put you in their consideration set, or you build loyalty by having this interpersonal interaction, which is if you go somewhere else, you will feel guilty. So you're always going to come to me. And you get that by like, I don't know. I was real loyal to a coffee shop. Last place I lived near a coffee shop. Like they invited me to the Halloween party and the Christmas party. Like that was where I went. I'd go there and get a cup of coffee, cup of tea, and hang out with the taxi drivers. And like that was very interpersonal. I don't want to call that new though. I want those two. I want parallelism in those words. Parallelism. You writing theater? You writing theater?
No.
You writing theater? You words person?
What?
You words person?
No.
You like words?
No.
Yeah. I don't know. I just had a really couple in-depth discussions about the nature of words this weekend. I was talking to a linguist. But neither here nor there, but parallelism is the wrong word. But I'm going to talk about new. I want new versus something that's similar to new, or interpersonal versus things that sort of, that's not broad, like that's inviting and that's intimacy. I think that's what I want is invitation and intimacy. Let's see. I don't know. Whatever. It's contributing to the same idea. Now we know that tags is not binary, but it is a ratio level metric. Analyze. Compare means. Independent samples. Oh, here we were. We're using stock photo as a grouping variable, where it's either a stock photo or it is not. Continue, paste. There. Cool. So now we're looking at stock photos versus not stock photos, likes, comments, and tags of the dependent variables, and we run it. But you didn't put tags in yours, which is fine. Just maybe a little recoding. So reach out to that team, find out what we got to do to make that stuff happen, because the other really important part of this is getting rid of that impact font stuff. But we can see here those looking at the average number of likes for stock photos versus not stock photos. But what we do is we come to the t-test, and whenever we look at a statistical test, what's one of the first omnibus numbers that we look at, determine whether or not we should even be paying attention? What's the thing we look at? Start with what value? Yeah, start with the p-value, otherwise known as the significance value. Yep. So there's a significance here. These first two columns is always Levine's test. Don't worry about that. It doesn't pertain to us. It just tells us that the two groups don't vary the same way. Just focus on this one, which is less than 0.05. Heck, it's less than 0.01, which would be very strong evidence to reject the null, to reject the idea that these two groups are equal. That's non-directional, and that's fine. But in order for us to determine, we got to say, okay, We got stock photos, and we got non-stock photos. We look at the average number of likes. So likes is the variable. The average number of likes for stock photos is 29.75. We'll call it 30. The average number of likes for non-stock photos is 43. And these are means, so X bar. Average for non is 43. Average for stock is 30. The t-value for the t-test is 5.14. I know it's negative, but that negative sign only pertains to which group we chose first. Doesn't matter. The t-value is 5.14. The p-value is less than 0.01. The degrees of freedom is 202. So if you were reporting this in a statistical, like a journal or academic paper, I'd write it like that. T with 202 degrees of freedom equals 5.14, and the p-value is less than 0.01. Statistically, that's how you write up the fact that there is a statistical difference between these two means. The mean number of likes for non versus stock photos. When you convey this to the client, I would avoid this. Use the language of there's a statistically significant difference between these two. It's probably a good idea also to give a sense of the sample size, the fact that there are 81 stock photos and 123 non-stock photos. Gives us context. If he wants to know or she wants to know what the nature of this statistically significant thing is, you can say you did a t-test and the p-value is less than 0.01. If you want to know the stats numbers, we can do the stats. But we're here focused on recommendations and telling you things that we saw. And we know that on average, there is a significantly higher number of likes if you avoid stock photos. Why do we care about likes? Because likes get you tags, likes get you followers. Tags get you followers. You want likes so you can get tags and followers, because followers puts your brand in your consumer's consideration set. Everything else is going to sound the same. You want likes because likes get you followers, followers get you tags, tags get you followers, and followers keeps you in your consumer's consideration set. Comments. Comments is also part of the conversation. I guarantee you that what we just saw, tags is a form of comment, right? Mm-hmm. So comments is related to this as well. Let's see, comments is in here. And again, comments is part of the conversation, whether it's intimacy, whether it's invitation. We know that all three of these things are related, and any of these can contribute to tags. Tags will get you followers. Followers, again, consideration set means money. Consideration set is also one of those terms that I will often blank on. I know exactly what I'm talking about, but I forget the words. It's just got a black hole in my mind. But that's pretty important because that's what this conversation does. Those are the things like if you're here when Ryan was talking about prescription prescription direct-to-consumer drugs, the things like Lipitor, Jublia, Cymbalta, those are made up things, but you've been exposed to them so many times, you're not afraid of the word when you hear it. So you need to be exposed to benefit juice so frequently in a positive light that beyond just not being afraid of it when you hear it, you consider it when it's like, let's have a snack. Same thing here in terms of comments. You're averaging 0.6 comments with stock photos. You're averaging 1.3 comments with non-stock photos. That's a t-value of 3.67. We're still talking about 202 degrees of freedom. The p-value is still less than 0.01. which means there's a significant difference. On average, you get, there's, gosh, you know, there's so many different ways to talk about this. There's a statistics that's sometimes people call odds ratio. So how many more times likely are you going to get something? So you average more than twice as many comments with a non-stock photo. Stock photos don't get you comments. In fact, it's not just a difference of the statistical significance. It's a real percent here. So at the start, this is statistical tests. We're going to have other independent variables that we can do this, because all we need to do, other than going back and coding tags, is if there is another independent variable, not just stock photo. What's another independent variable that we want to know this versus that? Where did the variables go? Oh, yeah. What else? This versus that.
What about like food versus juice?
And then I think
Or
we
like,
should include coffee in that.
or maybe coffee versus juice, because they're more similar. It's like a drink,
Okay.
rather than just food, because yeah, I'm not sure why.
A couple different ways we can look at this. We can say, let's look at juice photos versus non-juice photos.
Mhm.
We can look at photos that have either juice or coffee or food.
Mhm.
We can call those like grub photos because they got grub in them of some kind versus not. If we want to compare juice photos on average to food photos, because we want to know, is juice better than food? That's a slightly different test. For the time being, I want to see if we can use the variables that we've coded to try to compare this versus that, because one of the problems that you run into is, or sorry, presence versus absence. One of the problems you may run into is that if you have, these are your food photos because they got food in them, and these are your juice photos because they got juice in them, and this is the overlap. We're comparing like the average number of likes from the juice to food, where most of them are the same. And really, we're only comparing like the ones that are exclusively juice to exclusively food because of the huge overlap. Again, we could do it, but we may be better off saying we have 4 categories of photos: food only, juice only, food and juice, or neither. So that would be food only, juice only, food and juice, or neither. And that's everything. Totally a strategy. In case of 204 photos, or however many they have, that means we may average like 50 per this, but it may be a whole bunch fit into this category, and only a few fit into an exclusively food category. There's a whole handsome amount of non-food or drink photos, which all fall into which category? Many of which may be those stock photos or Free Coffee Friday, or you even know the movie that Bill Murray photo's from?
Is it Groundhog Day? No.
Was it Groundhog Day? I think it was
I
Groundhog
think
Day.
it may have been.
Yeah, he's also in this movie called Coffee and Cigarettes, which is a really good movie. I like it a lot. Where it's the scene is Bill Murray and the Wu-Tang Clan sitting around having coffee together. I don't know if you know who Wu-Tang is, but they're musicians. That's a pretty good one too. So, Sarah, we're talking food and juice. What do you want to do? Do you want food versus non-food?
I
Do you
feel like,
want
yeah, to
the
start
4
off,
of
maybe
these?
look at food versus non-food, just so we can see like the presence and absence like you talked about.
Okay. This is cool because, and I don't know, what's food updates promotions?
No, it's
What is food updates promotions?
That's
That's
when
when
They
we
like announcing new
like grilled
Yeah.
cheese crouton and tomato soup.
like,
Food
a food
update.
update.
Or like
so food is
new
just food.
sandwich.
Yeah, or like the curry soup thing. That
Yeah.
Food is just food, says Mary. So all I did was I took the same 4 lines that I used to do this for stock photos, but where it says stock photo, FOOD, that's how you spell food, Control R run. And now I have 100 or 204 photos. 47 of them contain food, 157 don't. We look at our p-values here, and there is a significant difference in number of likes, whether food or absence, presence or absence of food. 0.05, so we're sort of right on the cusp here. This is a two-tailed, which is non-directional hypothesis. Sometimes we say p-values which are greater than 0.05 but less than 0.1, which we may say is marginally significant. Sometimes we'll call that directionally significant, meaning if you had a directional hypothesis, it would be one-tailed rather than two, and the mathematics is such that you just take the p-value and cut it in half. That's what we mean by directionally significant. It's the same as marginally significant, but the justification for the adverb is different. Be that as it may be. The average number of likes for food versus no food. The average number of likes when food is present, for which there are 47, 157, 44 likes versus 36 likes, and that is a significant difference because the t-value is 2.65 and the p-value is 0.009. In terms of the number of comments, the average number of comments on food photos is 1.4. Non-food photos is 0.93. The t-value is 1.975. P is 0.05. You get significantly more comments and likes if there's food present, if there's not food present. Similar sort of pattern in terms of non-stock photos, both in comments and food. So this makes me wonder, like this. We got 4 groups of photos: food, stock, food and stock, neither food nor stock. We determine that. Cross tabs. Food, by, stock, photo. There are 82 out here that contain neither food nor stock photography. There are 75 posts which are stock but are not food. There are 41 which are food but not stock. There are 6 which are both food and stock. 4 different types of photos. 82, again, have neither. 75 are stock. 6 which are both, and 41 which are food but are not stock posts. Wouldn't it be nice if we could find out whether these were different from these, were different from these, were different from these? We've got statistical technique to accomplish that. Any idea what that's called? We need a single independent variable, which will have 4 levels. One which is both, one which is neither, food, stock. When you have an independent variable that's categorical, that has more than 2 levels, and a continuous level dependent variable, what's the appropriate choice of statistical test? Give up? Or you want to try?
We're trying to see if they're not.
5 letters. Starts and ends with the same.
Anova.
Analysis of variance.
Oh,
First thing we're going to do,
right.
compute. This is food and or stock. So I'm going to call it FAOS. Every photo is 0 if food equals 1 and stock photo equals 1, FAOS equals 1. If food equals 1, stock photo equals 0, FAOS equals 2. If food equals 0 and stock photo equals 1, FAOS equals 3. If food equals 0 and stock photo equals 0, FAOS equals 4. Value labels for FAOS. One is food and stock. 2 is food only. 3 is stock only. 4 is neither food nor stock. Free FAOS. 204. 6 in the other lap. 41 here. 75 here. 82 out here. Analyze, compare the means. We use the Anova. FAOS is the factor. Tags, views, no. Likes and comments are the dependent variable.
Is that the right? Like,
Nope. Is that the right likes? Cool. FAOS is the independent variable. Comments, tags, and likes is the independent variable. If we find that we want to use a similar technique to get some Venn diagrams going, perhaps food and or juice, which we could call FAUJ or FAUJ, depending on whether it's a soft J like jogging. Boom. Can't compute the thing. There are fewer than 2 groups for dependent variable tags. No statistics are computed. Oh yeah, because tags isn't here. I keep including tags because when it is in your data set, you can just run this command and it will execute it for tags. Thinking ahead, hooking up future you. You're welcome, future you. But we come here and we look at the Anova results. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 different groups. And we have 2 different tests because we're looking at, oh, in this case, comments came first and likes are here. Each of these different groups, well, we have a sample size for them. We know the sample size. This is comments. Food and stock was 1. Food only, 1.5. Stock only, 0.6. Neither food nor stock, 1.3. How many likes? Food and stock, 37. Food only, 45. Stock only, 29. Neither food nor stock, 42. Most number of likes and comments, second most, third most, last. Best, worst. Best is 2, which is food only. Worst is 3, which is stock only. I know we're seeing represented data. We know we're not the ones that are managing this Instagram. The person managing the Instagram made decisions based on what they believe is the case in reality. We have no observed reality. We can tell him what reality is, the one we already understand. But the statistical test is what we're after. This is not a T test. The Anova is an F test. Same thing. We look at the significance value and whether we're looking at comments where the F value is 4.81 or likes where the F value is 9.45. Small p-values mean there's lots of evidence that at least one of these groups is different from the other groups. But that's what rejecting the null is in this case. It doesn't tell you that this group is different from the other ones because it's big, or this group is different from the other ones because it's small, or these 2 are bigger than the other 2, or these 2 are smaller than the other 2, or these 3 are all bigger than this one. That's what the post hoc tests are for. So sometimes I'm not the biggest fan of Anova because it does involve you doing post hoc tests to try to figure out what caused the difference to be significant. One of them is the Schiffe, and one of them is the LSD, and there's a whole bunch of these. But what this is starting to summarize for you, I'm going to look at it real quick. Oh, that's so much easier to interpret. And they get pretty much the same stuff. So I'm going to look at the post hoc comparisons for a couple of these. Now, when we look directly at the output here, that can look like a lot of numbers, and there are. But note, there's still significance here. So we can still, in some way, rely on the significance. If the significance value is less than 0.05, like this one, this output has put a star next to whatever's in this column. So rather than having to look at both of these columns at the same time, you can just go down this column, and if there's a star next to this value, you know that the p-value is less than 0.05. What is the star next to the value of? It says mean difference. In other words, the difference or subtraction of this group from this group, or this group from this group. So we zoom in here. Food and stock, none of those have stars next to them. This is the mean difference column. There's one that has a star in it. This is where we're comparing pictures of food only to food and stock, stock only, or neither food. This indicates that food is significantly different from stock only. That food and stock only are significantly different by 0.9 on the number of comments. Yeah, we can see that 1.5 and 0.6. That 0.9 that we're looking at right there is just the difference between the number of comments that food only and stock only generate. If we look at the difference between stock only and everything else, stock is significantly worse than food only. Stock only is significantly worse than neither food nor stock. So it's not just that one group is different from others. We know this group is better than this group. Or if we look at the one, so food and stock, food only, stock only, neither food nor stock. It is stock only that has two groups that are bigger than it is. So it is really the driving force behind the significant difference. And that the difference between stock only is that it's significantly different from this one, significantly less, and it's significantly less than that. In terms of likes, we see the exact same pattern, which is this is significantly less than that and significantly less than that. Take a deep breath, because that was a lot of words and it took you on a big journey. We did post hoc tests. You don't even know why we chose a post hoc test. Hopefully its results, because they're intuitive with how we understand, is part of the evidence that you use to tell this story. So how do I tell this story? I say we have an independent variable composed of food and or presence to stock photo, and that creates these four levels, four categories within this variable. We conducted a one-way ANOVA using this variable as the independent variable, comments and likes as the dependent variable. We got a significant F, p-value is less than 0.05, which indicated that we reject the null and that something here was different from something else. Using post hoc tests, and you can choose Chaffee, you can choose LSD, doesn't really, you can Bonferroni, it doesn't matter. You can pick whatever. Effectively, you're going to be looking for things that look like this, which is this group or this group or this group. Which group is significantly different from other groups? And I'm going to say stock only because it's significantly different from two other groups, where food is only significantly different from one. This is only significantly different from one, and that actually represents the two. So stock only is the driving force behind the significant F value. I said take a deep breath and then I get talking. So we're picking up pieces of this.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We think we know how to report it a little bit. Different context. If we're talking paper and stats class, being able to say things like this is important. because when you talk to your client, you're probably going to dumb down the statistics language, but just say statistically significant difference. If you want to know more about those numbers, we have them in the appendix, but this is not a statistics conversation for your client. It's a recommendation based on, this is now your evidence to say that recommendation. If he questions your recommendation, you can show him the evidence, but otherwise you get significantly less comments and likes with using stock photos. What else?
I just went through and added all of the tags because there's only like 10 photos that had tags. So I just sent it to our Slack that includes the tags and the data. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
The only one that had more than, I think the highest tag was 7, and it was when they announced the unicorn latte. People got really excited about that.
What is the unicorn? Peppermint? Peppermint stick in it?
No, it has like a crown, not a crown, but a horn and colored sprinkles. And it looks kind of like a unicorn.
Yeah, no, sign me up, right? So this is, yeah, that.
So cute.
Make that, just do shit like that. Take pictures of it, that's it.
We don't need any text.
I don't need like 2/3 of it saying unicorn, do this, that, whatever. No. All right. So, oh no, now we've got different data. Oh, the everything. Wah. No. Bad. Don't do that. Now we just go to that data that you sent me and say open data, which was an Excel file, which was this one you just sent me. Open. And presuming that it's not any different from other ways. Oh, so now we've just got the same, it looks like the same data. Okay, files, save as. I've already got one, but this one's updated. So I'm gonna just call it updated, save. And now I come back here and go updated. And then we didn't do these earlier, so we're not gonna do them. I mean, we sort of did. That was me recoding. We did that stuff. I'm just going to do all the stuff we did again. Now we're going to have tags. We're going to see how that one plays out. If you didn't see what happened there, all I did was save the file you sent me under a different name, change the file that I'm going to summon, and Control S, save the syntax. Control A, highlight all the syntax. Control R, run all the syntax. And then remember that you prefer it when your output is clean. So you close the old output, run the new stuff, come back in here, make sure there's no errors. Oh, you were already using that data. $204. Now we're back at 204 because we said someplace back here. Oh, here we're selecting if benefit equals 1, which is why our base size now is only 204. Now we're going to compare stock photos on those things. And then here we go. So if we go back to where is it? Oh, so this is stock versus not. All right. Oh, that's the first one we did. The number of tags for stock photos is on average this is tags 0.04. Apparently somebody tagged somewhere, and 0.27. Which is significantly different. We do the same thing for food, presence or absence of food. We see that there is a significant difference in the number of tags if we have food present. If there are tags, sorry, if there's food, the average number of tags is 0.4. Not, it's 0.11. Food photos get more tags than non-food photos. Stock photos get fewer tags than non-stock photos. We looked at comments and likes. We just did that whole stuff with the post hoc tests in the Anova. We also see that there's a significant difference in the number of tags for this thing. Oh, of course you would. Oh, well, I like that better. Oh, cool. So much better. So much better. Great. Neat. In terms of comments and likes, the driving force is the lack of, or sorry, is stock photos versus not. But if I look at the descriptive statistics for tags, I can see food and stock photos, which is 4. No. Which one was which? Both. Food and stock. 6 photos, nothing. Nothing in tags. Food only, 0.46. Stock only, 0.04. Neither, 0.17. The driving force here in tags is not whether or not it's a stock photo, but whether or not there's food present. If there's food present, we get significantly more tags than a stock photo or a stock and food photo. So this isolates a little bit the effect of food specifically on increasing tags, whereas we know that getting rid of the stock increases both of those, but food will directly increase tags. Should, or at least back to here, we get rid of stock and we get more comments, we get rid of stock and we get more likes, but really a way to increase tags specifically is to say food. But we can get tags and followers by saying no stock.
Mm-hmm.
But we can increase, no. Well, no food, but obviously no stock. Get rid of this one because not stock is liked more. So not stock gets you followers and likes. Food will get you tags. Tags get you followers and likes, and so on. I look at that because when I look at the post hoc tests for tags, I look at food only, and it's significantly better than stock, significantly better than neither food nor stock. But stock only is just less than food. The same logic that we use to say stock only is worse than those two, we say that food only is better than those two. So you put food in your photos to get more likes. And just food. Just food, like unicorn lattes.
Times New York.
No, don't do that. Yeah, I always go back to my buddy Tony's website because it feeds from his Instagram. But whenever he posts, what's he doing now? Big noodle dish, stone crab legs. But when you look at his posts again, it's the, oh, that was the squid. It's a whole barbecued squid. All the hashtags come at the end, but the first comment is just the description. And that's such a nicer and more elegant way when you're scrolling through your feed, not to be disrupted by, and you've seen those where it's like picture and then all the hashtags. Like if I want to know your hashtags, I'll go to your comments. I don't need to get that stuff off the bat. Vegetarians?
No.
Does that look appetizing?
No, people think that I'm a vegetarian.
We've already gone over this.
Yeah.
Everyone just assumes that I'm a vegetarian for some reason.
I think I made that assumption too.
Yeah, most people do.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay. Does that look good or is that just me? Like I want to eat that. Do you like squid or octopus or anything,
It
Melissa?
looks a little freaky, but I'm interested in it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't-
Mary,
You're
I feel
out.
like you're picky.
Yeah, Mary would
I'm
hate
like
it.
not though.
She'd probably try it.
I'd
but-
try it.
Yeah. What about anything Asian noodle dish? Anything like, well, he occasionally does stuff like that, but
Ooh, oysters,
Oh,
so good.
all day,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all day.
Mhm.
Little tiny Thanksgiving, all day.
Looks good.
Oh God, so good. Or something as simple as this.
Mhm.
You know, there's the street in the background. There's what appears to be some chicken sandwich. Oh, scrambled eggs, cheddar, and avocado, and tomatillo sauce. Yes. But I don't need that plastered right here.
Looks good.
Where's that brunch spot? Caramelized French toast, cap and crunch breaded fried chicken. Are you crazy? Well, I don't know where Ashburn is. They call it the goat though, so it must be in New England. Because everyone's obsessed with goats up here or something. Little tiny little breakfasts, things. Anyway,